should probably define what we mean by bad,
Super club.
good.
Oh,
Super,
bad and good, yes.
like, so do you mean like, and I'm trying to understand this better, right?
Okay.
When you say bad for the game, do you mean like you have one team, say PSG, that wins the league every year? They always have the best players, and they're always buying the best players. They pay the best wages. Every player wants to go there, and all the other teams might as well just be in Division 2. Is that what you mean by bad for the game?
So it's actually funny you should say that, because I didn't give a definition, because I don't know. I think it's very gray. What is bad for one isn't necessarily bad for others. I'm going to bounce off of that later, but just tell me, when I say bad, what do you think? Do you agree in your own mind, your definition?
I don't think it's bad for the game, because at the end of the day, at least the way I'm thinking about it, at the end of the day, people are tuning in to see the best players play. It may not always be the best team, but the best players, right? If you have, you see this, for every team, there's usually a player that most of the fans really enjoy watching or whatnot. That's usually the player that brings the most money in, all right? Now, if you lose that player to say a PSG, for example, they may not continue watching your team's games, but they will still be watching PSG. They'll still be watching the player. They're not going to outright just stop watching simply because. Does it kill the quality of the sport in terms of the gap between the good teams and then the not so good teams? Yes, for sure. I don't think anyone can deny that. If it's only the big teams that can afford to have the best players, then yes, there's going to be that issue of, oh, this team is super talented, blah, blah, blah. But as we all know in sports, your price tag doesn't necessarily define your quality, right? You could sign a player for a lot of money that will show up and pull a Hazard or a Dembele or a Coutinho.
It's too close to home. Stop it. No, change the subject.
The list goes on, right? So just because you have money doesn't exactly mean you're going to be able
to use it.
Players or know how to use
Barcelona.
Yeah. And there's also there are also so many teams that have money, in my opinion. The super clubs, there are enough of them that I feel like it kind of spreads it out. And if we assume, let's assume, which this is not even possible, right? Let's assume all the top teams signed the top players in the world, the current top players in the world. There are still hundreds of quality players that those teams are still not going to be able to sign because you have a roster limit. You can't go past a certain number. So what, are you going to sign them and put them on the reserves? No player is going to do that, unless they have like a reserves league, which happens to be better than, in which case it's the same situation. The B team is the same situation, right? So I don't think it's bad for the sport in terms of the quality of play, because you still have teams like Ajax popping up. You still have the Sevillas, the Leicester cities. You still have those teams. And all that stuff factors into why the sport is so exciting. The underdog, right? You get in the game and you got Madrid versus Ajax. And Ajax demolishes Madrid. Champions League. I believe it was was it the quarterfinals or the semifinals? I'm not sure. Yeah, they demolished. And if you looked at the price tag of that Madrid team at the time, and you looked at the price tag of that Ajax team at the time, I think at least I think one of the players of Madrid probably cost more than the entire Ajax team. So quality, in terms of quality, no, I don't think it really doesn't matter. It's always been like that. You've always had your big clubs and you've had your small clubs, right? And the big clubs were always trying to buy from the small clubs. And I think it's also part of the way the system works in the sense that the small clubs picks up players, like players that are not known. They give them playing time, give them an opportunity, give them a platform to build themselves. And the big clubs buy them and expose them to the world. Like, hey, this is our new big talent from so and so, you know? Southampton, yeah. Who was it?
Southampton to Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool. Southampton, Liverpool. Yes. Liverpool, Southampton.
Yes. There was Ricky Lambert, Dejan Lovren, Sadio Mane. I'm forgetting 2 or 3 others off the Adam Lallana. But
you can shift to Bundesliga now. Since you are listed, just go to Bundesliga and just list them all.
Everybody's a buyer. Everyone's a buyer. So
everyone's a buyer. All right.
Thank you for checking out the ToroFoot Podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like and the subscribe button and check out some of the other videos we have available as well. Thank you very much.